Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara and today I am going to be doing a review of volumes 1 to 3 of Fullmetal Alchemist. I will be doing that from this balcony. I am using the mic on my earphones because I tried filming a video without using my earphones earlier on and you couldn't hear anything because there's quite a lot of background noise where I'm currently staying. So I thought, let's give it a go with the mic. Maybe that will make things a little bit more clearer. And yeah, because I like filming outside. It's really nice. It's such a beautiful day here. It's really hot. I'm already sweating and I've only been out here for about 30 minutes. But you know what? I'm just going to embrace it. We're just going to embrace the ridiculously hot weather. So, Fullmetal Alchemist. I've not read any manga prior to reading Fullmetal Alchemist. I actually used to be one of those really ignorant people who used to think manga was stupid and was not actually classified as reading because I was an idiot, and I am totally okay with admitting that to you guys on YouTube. To be honest with you, I think it was mainly because I saw it as a visual art, and you know, I guess I could never really just get past the pictures, but that's such a stupid reason not to deem something as a literary art, if that makes sense. I decided to give Fullmetal Alchemist a go. A couple of you guys had mentioned on my channel before that there was some mangas that I might like, but then Cyril, shout out to Cyril, he and I were talking about manga and comics, and he mentioned Fullmetal Alchemist, which I'd heard many times before. I've heard of Fullmetal Alchemist a lot. It gets a lot of praise, and I think it's one of the most popular manga out there. But we had a chat about it, and then he got me very curious. Let's just put it like that. So that seed was sown in my head, and then I went to Edinburgh a couple of weeks ago, and they happen to have volumes 1 to 3 in an omnibus edition, and so I decided to pick it up. Now, I really enjoyed it. So a lot of people were telling me that I had to read from right to left. Multiple people told me this, and I was like, yeah guys, I kind of figured it out. Also, it's not at all like new for me because I come from a country where you read the language from right to left. You read Urdu from right to left, so if anything, it's actually supernatural for me to read in that way. So it was relatively easy for me to get used to. I think the thing I was most surprised at was how quickly I was able to get through the manga, because I got through it super quickly, and I read like one volume a day. Essentially, I could have easily read all 3 volumes in a day if I wanted to, but I wanted to just break it up a little bit. And I have a feeling that it's just going to become a really expensive hobby because the omnibus editions that I'm buying, unfortunately, they're all sold out, so I have to get them secondhand, and secondhand they're quite expensive. And even if I didn't do that route and I did the route of buying 1 volume at a time, it's still going to be really expensive. So I don't know, I'm going to keep trying to buy the physicals as much as I can, but if I have to end up going online as I read more manga, then I might have to do that as well. So I don't know, we'll see, we'll take it each day. But what did I really like about Fullmetal Alchemist Volumes 1 to 3? I really like the characters. Now, Edward Elric, such a great character. I really like Alphonse too. Like, I really like their relationship as brothers. I always love brother relationships, sisterly relationships, and I think their relationship is a really interesting one, especially as we learn more about their relationship as we go further on into the manga. But I like Edward. I think he's really funny in a really cheesy way, but I'm kind of here for it. I thought I might not like the humour, but I actually kind of do, and I found myself laughing out loud multiple times. I also really like Mustang. I think Mustang is probably my favourite character to date right now. I think he's kind of no nonsense, and he makes these little comments that just make me laugh as well. And I also really like the duo of Lust and Gluttony. I also love the fact that they're named after 2 of the 7 deadly sins. I love the fact that Gluttony is just kind of odd and bizarre, and Lust just kind of does what she needs to do. So I'm really liking the characters in general at the moment. There's not any one character that I dislike, but there's quite a few that are definitely standouts for me. I also really like the fact that the manga is quite varied. You know, each volume, each chapter within each volume is set in a different place, from trains to mines to libraries to new towns. I think it's just really cool. I think it's cool to kind of have different settings and get a sense of the scope of the world without it being too much in your face. It doesn't make it boring, it makes it feel like the world is maybe a lot richer than you would anticipate, and I really like that. The connected to that, the art is really cool. Now, obviously, I'm not a manga veteran, so for all I know, this could be like the most basic art in the world, in which case, I apologize. But so far, I'm really liking the art. I really like the details of the expressions on each of the faces. I like the way that we get context from other people within the drawings. So like, you know, when they go to like a train as an example, you'll hear like little snippets of conversations from other people who are kind of complete strangers. And Cyril even found some Easter eggs that he sent me, which is really cool. I think it's quite basic. I don't know, I could be wrong, maybe it isn't. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it gets what it needs to get across, which is all you really want in the stories that you read. In terms of like thematic work, I think there's some really interesting thematic work that goes on in these mangas, in these volumes. I mean, I think there's a question of what makes a human human. There's this whole debate around like science versus faith, which I was not expecting and I really loved, because I love that discussion around, can you have faith while being science oriented and vice versa? How much do those two things go hand in hand? How much do those two things contradict one another? I think there's quite a lot of that in this story. But then there's also these kind of underlying themes of like family and friendship and loyalty that, as we all know, if you've been watching my channel for a while now, you'll know that I love that stuff. So it's covering some interesting stuff that I did not really expect. And it made me actually think of stuff post me finishing it that I also was not expecting. So that's always a welcome surprise. Now, maybe the last thing that I will mention is that these mangas are just really addictive. So I've read volumes 1 to 3, and then I've also read 4 and 5 so far. I was going to read volume 6 before I left on my holidays, but I forgot to be completely honest, because it was quite busy the days before I left. And then I was going to bring it with me, but it's quite a chunky omnibus and I didn't feel justified in bringing that whole chunky omnibus with me. So I decided not to, but I'll read it definitely when I get back to England. One of my favourite chapters that I think is worth just mentioning is chapter 9 in volume 3, because we get to see a different side to Edward and Alphonse. We see them with people that they know and people who specifically knew them before Edward lost his arm and before Alphonse basically turned into a robot. So we get to see this slightly different side to them that we don't really typically get to see, and I really like seeing the more kind of human side of them in contrast to how, say, like Mustang or any of the other characters portray those two in particular. In terms of negatives, I really don't have any. Like I said before, I think it's just going to be a really expensive hobby now because I'm one of these people that when I get into something, I commit to it, and I have a feeling that I'm just going to go crazy with Fullmetal Alchemist and potentially some other mangas as well. So I'm really enjoying it so far. In terms of what I rated the volume, so I rated volume 1 at 4 stars, mainly just because it was the first one that I'd read, and I think there's just a lot of like basic context setting that happens that isn't particularly like remarkable. But that being said, volume 2 and volume 3 both got 5 stars each because I think they were both really engaging in their own ways. And as I said, like volume 3 was probably my favourite so far just because... Okay, so my phone overheated from being propped up against my books, so I'm now holding my phone quickly just to wrap this up. But yeah, as I mentioned, volume 3 has definitely been my favourite so far. And I'm really excited to continue on this manga journey. I will be picking up some other manga. One Piece is another one. Berserk is another one. I've already bought some volumes for each of those, and I've also started getting into comics as well. So I read Amazing Spider-Man a couple of weeks back. I bought Fables Compendium 1. I also got gifted Watchmen. Yeah, so I'm getting into other ways of telling stories, which is kind of cool. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this journey, and let me know if you want to hear more of my journey. Let me know if you want to see I don't know, more reviews, book hauls specifically relating to comics and manga. I don't know. Just let me know what you guys want to see, and I would be more than happy to do what I can. So I'm going to finish this off here because my arm is hurting now, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay safe, everybody. Take care, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye.